Good morning, friends, and welcome to a Hasty Podcast. I'm your host, Weston Hasty, and you're listening to a Hasty Podcast. We're doing something weird today. There's only... Test 1, 2 on the audio. There's only one way to find out if anyone else finds out that anyone's watching. I have no idea if anyone's going to watch this. So, and by watch, I mean I am currently live streaming the podcast recording to my gaming channel, Magic Man Mo. So on Magic Man Mo on YouTube, that's my gaming YouTube channel, and I just thought I haven't done like a members only thing for that channel in a while, so, and I really need to record an episode of this podcast. Like, I'm behind. I am so woefully behind, so I am actually, as of speaking right now, I'm literally recording, because this will come up on the actual podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, all of that stuff at some point in the future. But at the time of recording this, I am streaming it live to my gaming channel. Why am I not streaming it to my actual A Hasty Podcast YouTube channel? Why am I not doing that? Well, it doesn't qualify for memberships. It does not get monetized on YouTube, so I thought, like, well, I didn't want to create a live streaming schedule over there because I know I'm not going to keep to it. And I can't do, like, a members-only stream, which is, like, private except for people that are members. I can't do that because I don't qualify for membership. So the only thing I could do is, like, I don't know, an unlisted stream and try to invite people. And that's far too much work. This is something this is on a whim. So, in the future, on the A Hasty Podcast YouTube channel, if we get to the point where eventually one day it has enough subscribers and watch time, I think that's still the requirement to become partnered on YouTube. Although you would think that because I do have a channel that is partnered, it would be easier for me to start another partnered channel. You would think it would be easier, but anyway, the partnership requirements to monetize on YouTube are, if I remember correctly, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time within the past year. I think those are the requirements for partnership for a YouTube channel. And my gaming channel has had that for a while, but the A Hasty Podcast YouTube channel has not quite garnered that much attention yet. We're sitting at right around the 100 subscriber mark. I think we might have dipped down to 99. We float around 100 right now. So if you're listening to this elsewhere by the time this comes out, if you're listening to this eventually on the Magic Man Mo channel, if you're listening to this on Spotify, whatever the case might be, if you could just mosey on over to the YouTube channel, A Hasty Podcast, to give me a subscribe, that'd be super that'd be super dope. We got 900 to go, baby, and then also a ton of watch time. But anyway, we're doing something a little different, is what I'm trying to say. So I feel a little all over the place right now. I would like to continue to do this more often. If we get to the point where we can get to memberships on the YouTube channel, we'll stream more often to the A Hasty Podcast channel. That'll be fun. I think that'll be a fun way to do it, where, like, I can have people possibly interact live. I don't want the interaction to be too crazy intrusive, because I like to come in with, like, a topic that I discuss. And don't worry, we're going to get to that. But I'm always trying to think of new ways to make things interesting for at the very least, interesting for me. So today we're drinking my coffee. I'm drinking my coffee out of my massive, they're called tumblers, right? It's a massive tumbler. It's this cool red and black and white sort of, I don't know, it's like smoky. I'm trying to describe the design on it. Smoky, but yet it kind of reminds me of, like, rock layers, but it's not, like, solid lines. It's, like, curvy and wavy and stuff, but it definitely looks like it was done by, like, dripping paint or something. I'm not entirely sure how to describe it. I love it. I love this tumbler. It's also got my name on it. It says Weston Hasty on the bottom. It's also got Magic Man Mo towards the top on the other side of it. And I love this thing. It was a gift to me by a dear work friend of mine. I say work friend. We met at work. And she no longer works with me, but we became friends at work many years ago, actually. And we still maintain a friendship to this day. She got me this for a Christmas gift. It was Christmas or it was a birthday gift. I forget which. I want to say Christmas. It might have been birthday. I don't remember, but it was a gift. She's so sweet. She got me this. She knew I was like really into my gaming channel, and she had it labeled Magic Man Mo. I love this thing. It's massive. It's the biggest tumbler thing that I own. I don't know how many ounces of whatever fluid it holds, like 30, maybe 40, 30, 40. That's what it feels like, something like that. It feels like a large cup. I broke it. I broke it. I'm laughing about it because I'm so frustrated. My most favorite tumblers that I keep coffee in, I have damaged. That's why I'm bringing this up. This was not the same Christmas that I received this. If I got this for Christmas, I don't even remember. Actually, it might have been a birthday gift because I maybe only had it for like half a year. I think it was a birthday gift because my birthday's in the summer. I think I had it for half a year, and then in the winter, that literal following winter, I slipped on ice and like just threw this tumbler out of my hand. Not on purpose, obviously. It went flying out of my hand and crashed into some concrete and chipped it pretty good. It's got, along the base, it's got some, like, part of the, like, outside of this tumbler is chipped and bent, and there's another spot somewhere, I forget where. Because of the design, which is kind of nice, because of the design on it being so kind of, like, weird, it's actually hard to spot the chips. So it doesn't look damaged right away, unless you're really looking for it, with the exception of, I busted the lid. So the lid, you've got the part where you drink from. Luckily, that's fine. But on the back side of the lid, on the like other side where you don't drink from, it's actually cracked horribly, and there's a hole there. So like, there's not a seal on the top of this tumbler like it's supposed to have. There is no seal. There is even if I close the little, I don't know if you can hear that in the microphone. There's a little slidey thing that you can close so that if you're not drinking out of it, you can keep whatever's inside, like hot, cold, whatever. Not super helpful anymore because there's a massive just hole. If you're watching the live stream, I'm pointing at it, but like it's just I say massive hole. It's not a massive hole, but it was all splintered and rough and sharp and stuff. I had to like kind of like smooth it out so that it doesn't cut me when I'm like messing with it or trying to open it back up. It's the part that had the little tab sticking out that you could use to easily take the lid off of the cup. That's gone now, so it's actually hard to take the lid off. But I still treasure this thing because it was a gift. I treasure my gifts. I don't get rid of my gifts. That's like my favorite mug, or at least one of my favorite mugs. I think the reason it's like my number one favorite mug is because it was a gift and it's also huge. It's huge. It holds so much coffee. So if you're looking for something, if you're looking for a gift to give me, I don't know why you would, but if you ever meet me in person and need to give me a gift of some kind, coffee tumblers are the way to go, especially if they're massive. My other favorite gift, coffee tumbler, is this one given to me by my good friend Alex. We do a podcast together called Profoundish. If you don't know about it, you should definitely go listen to it. It's called Profoundish. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and Anchor. We have an Anchor link as well. Just type in the Google, like, Profoundish on Anchor, or Profoundish on Spotify, or Profoundish on YouTube, or whatever. We do a podcast together. It's a lot of fun. We talk about really various topics for about the first half, and then the second half we play, like, a game. It's a different thing, like, every time. So I'm going to call... Excuse me. I'm going to call it a game and in the second half. The second half is like my favorite part, but you have to get through the first half to get to it. Anyway, we do a podcast together. He gave me many, many years ago now a Civilization 5 themed coffee tumbler, and it's my second favorite. It was my first favorite for a long time, but again, like I said, the only reason this one that I'm holding beats that one out is just because it's like it's like 2 or 3 times the size, but it's a Civilization 5 themed tumbler, and the outside of it, I don't know what material it is that the design is like printed on to be on the tumbler, because the design's not like on the metal part of the tumbler itself. It's like a different, I almost want to say film. I'm not sure what, like paint. It's like painted on. I think it's like a paint or something like that. And it's starting to get really worn out, and it's making me sad. It's starting to chip, like the paint. I mean, it's many years old now. I think this is back in literally. I played a ton of Civilization 5 back in the day, and I think this was definitely a Christmas gift. because we don't do birthday gifts with my friends. But we used to do like a Christmas gathering. I say with my friends as if my work friend that I mentioned earlier wasn't my friend, but different friend group. Anyway, we did a Christmas thing, and I think that was literally the year, I don't remember when it came out, when Civilization 6 came out. I don't remember what month that came out, if it was for the holiday season or what, but whenever that came out was literally the Christmas he got me a Civilization 5 mug, and I was making fun of him, like, Civilization 6 is out now, and I was just kidding. Hang on, when did Civ 6 come out, release? This is just for me, I really want to know. 2016, was it 2016? I feel like I had the mug for longer than that, but maybe I didn't. 6 years. It's still 6 years. I feel like it was older than that, so maybe I'm misremembering something. Not sure. But anyway, and it was out in October. But yeah, that's a awesome mug, but it's starting to chip because it's 6 years old, and I use it all the time. So it's starting to chip, and some of the paint's coming off, and it's starting to make me sad. So I've got one giant busted mug, one chipping mug, and then my third favorite mug, Rest in Pieces, is destroyed. So this was a gift from actually my parents. This was also, I believe, a Christmas gift. This was not too long after I was really getting into coffee, so this is probably like 2013, 14, something like that. And this was actually not a tumbler. This was like a ceramic coffee mug, but it was like a to-go mug. And it was Reese's Peanut Butter Cup themed. So it was like an orange mug, like into the ceramic, orange with a Reese's logo on it. And the top, it has a lid. It had a lid, like a rubber lid. I think it was like rubber. Some kind of material that's like a rubber type lid thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like... I almost want to say it's not rubber. I want to say it's something else, but because rubber I feel like would be like rougher or stickier or something. It was soft, but it was like a soft rubber topper or whatever. And that was the lid, and you just kind of like pushed it on top of the mug, and it would somehow stay on. It felt like it wouldn't. It would feel, because it was so easy. You just peel it off, put it on, peel it off, put it on. Like you'd feel like it would get like loose and fall off and create quite a mess, but never did. It never did. That was my third favorite mug. Probably my oldest favorite mug, so at one point in time, it definitely was my favorite. I dropped it at work the other day. I dropped it onto the floor, and it shattered. It shattered. I broke the ceramics. I was very sad. My favorite mugs are all falling apart, guys. They're all falling apart. All my other, like, tumblers and mugs... Well, okay, I say mugs. I've got a couple of mugs that I still like, just regular mugs without a lid. But my travel mugs, all my favorite travel mugs are, like, slowly being destroyed. And it's making me very sad. So that's why I said if you need a gift idea, my address is... No, I'm just kidding. Send me mugs. No, I'm just kidding. They're being destroyed. It's making me very sad. This just happened at work. I dropped my Reese's travel mug. It made me very sad. And I'm still mourning its loss. But it's okay. We move on. There will be other travel mugs in the future. Those are my 3 gifts. I have two other gifted travel mugs, actually, hilariously. My supervisor at work. One, when I got promoted to store manager under the new people, I got a couple of different things from them, and one of them was a travel Subway mug. And I do use it, especially at work. And then later, for I think my birthday or whatever, my supervisor just got me yet another travel mug. It's not like designed in any way. It's just red. I think she might have asked me my favorite color or something at some point. I don't remember. So I've gotten 2 gifted travel mugs from work, which was nice. They don't hold quite the same like personal significance to me, but they were nice. And then I've got a couple of other travel like tumbler mug things that I don't really like, but I have them. I've got this one, and the lid is getting loose on it, so when you drink from it, it tries to dribble out of the lid, and it's not ideal. It makes a mess. It really makes a mess. I actually hate this thing, but in a pinch, when everything else is like dirty because I take forever to do my dishes, I'll use it. I've got another one that is fine. The lid works, but it's like really tall and skinny, and it doesn't fit any cup holder. So if I put it in the cup holder in my car while I'm driving, it wiggles back and forth really bad, and if it's filled to the top, it spills. because it wiggles so goddamn much because it doesn't fit the cup holder. Why would it be designed this way? So it's really tall, skinny, and annoying to actually travel with, unless I'm just walking everywhere. But I live in I've said it before. I shouldn't keep doxing myself. I live in Illinois in the United States. I have to drive everywhere. I do not live in like a walkable city or whatever. I drive everywhere, so that's just the way that is. Do I have another mug that annoys me? Oh yeah, I've got a little one. It's got like its lid is getting loose too. I've got 2 travel mugs. Their lids are getting loose. It's not that I've got a smaller one, and its lid is loose in the sense that it doesn't really make a mess when you move around too bad, but if you hit it just right, it like pops off. So that's not ideal, you might imagine. But my favorite actual just mugs that are not coffee mugs, I've got 2. Apparently this is how I've decided to begin this entire podcast, is talking about my coffee mugs. Apparently that's what I've decided. I've got a few coffee mugs that are not travel mugs. They're just mugs. Most of them are like just stolen from my dad's cupboard when I moved out of their house the first time. It's fine. He has so many, and he just let me have them, but I kind of just took them. One of them is like a Country Financial mug, which they're an insurance company. I don't think, my dad had it. I don't think they have insurance through Country whatsoever anymore, but at one point in time they did, and therefore had a mug. I have stolen that mug. I never use it on camera because I do a bunch of green screen stuff, and it's a green mug, so I like never use it. But sometimes, like if I'm just doing editing or whatever, I'll use it. It's really wide. It's a really wide mug, so it holds quite a bit of coffee in it for a mug. And then I've got, how many mugs do I have? My favorite ones, I have 2 favorite ones. One is just this really kind of tall and wide-lipped red mug that I got for $1 at a Dollar General. It's like my favorite mug because I think it's the biggest. It feels like it's the biggest coffee mug I have, and I got it for $1. It was $1, and it's a ceramic mug. I like it a lot. It's actually the mug that I loosely designed, or I guess was inspired by for the logo on this podcast, in fact, with the little steam coming out of it. Right? Like the mug that you see there in the red color for like the color scheme of this podcast is inspired by specifically that mug. My Dollar General mug that I got. And it's still holding up. I like to use it quite a bit. And then my other favorite mug, it's really my first favorite mug because it's a Hasty Podcast mug. The Hasty Podcast mug that you can get on my store at magicmanmo.com. You can get a Hasty Podcast coffee mug, water tumbler, water bottle, whatever. I think I've got like a beer glass or something. I forget. I've got a bunch of drinkware for a Hasty Podcast on my site at magicmanmo.com. But the coffee mug you can get is a Hasty Podcast coffee mug. It's got my logo on it twice. So if you're left-handed or you're right-handed, either way that you're holding it, the logo is visible either way. I did that because I'm left-handed and I drink my coffee with my left hand, so I want my logo to be visible when I'm drinking it left-handed. But I know most people are right-handed, so I wanted it on both sides. Anyway, that's like probably my first favorite mug, but to contrast that with my Dollar General mug, my Hasty Podcast mug is smaller. I don't know how many ounces it holds, probably like the actual suggested cup of coffee, probably. Like, what is a suggested... What are the ounces in cup of coffee? I think it's just like 8, right? Or something like that. No, I don't want to know how many pounds are in 1 ounce. If you wanted to know, there are 0.0625 pounds in an ounce. That is not what I asked Google. Yes, 8 ounces. That's what I thought. It says, check it out. The metric system preferred in most places worldwide declares a cup to be 250 milliliters, about 8.45 fluid ounces. Though the accepted standard cup in American measurement is a solid just 8 fluid ounces. That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me, that depending on where you are, if you go by milliliters, you probably want a nice even number, so 250, right? And then in America, since we don't do milliliters, we just want a nice even 8 fluid ounces. So yeah, I think it probably holds 8 fluid ounces is what it holds. I think my dollar mug holds more than that. I don't know what it is. I've never tried to measure it. I just fill it and drink it. That's that's just how it goes. I hope I'm not falsely advertising my own mug. If it, just in case it doesn't hold 8 fluid ounces. Look, I drink it here at home. I have a drip pot coffee. I make coffee drip style, right? I just drip coffee into a pot. So I use that mug when I'm home, because it's not a travel mug. I use it when I'm home. I have a pot full of coffee sitting out, and I fill as I go. So I don't ever bother to measure. I just drink. I just want more coffee. I'm bad about my coffee. I usually leave my coffee pot on after I fill my mug, because I'll just literally fill my coffee pot to the brim, to the top, whatever that is. I think it's the label says 12. I fill it to the 12, so I don't know if that's 12 cups of coffee or if that is some other measurement. If that's 12 fluid ounce, it can't be 12 fluid ounces, because that would be like 1.5 cups, and it fills more than 1.5 cups. It fills more than 1.5 of my mugs. I don't know what the measurement is, so maybe it is 12 cups. Well, 12 cups would be like 12. I feel like it doesn't fill 12 mugs, though. I don't know. I'll have to measure it. It's a lot. I just fill it to the top, is my point. And I leave the pot on because it's got one of the warmers in the base, and it keeps it warm for me. I have discovered, and I guess it's not that I didn't know this. I guess I just don't care. I watch a lot of... I say a lot of. I go on like binges of it. What are they called? Technology Connections, that YouTube channel. He does a bunch of technology. I forget what his name is, the host, but he does a bunch of technology things where he this is a whole video about air condition units, or there's a whole video about turn signals. Just random things of technology that you encounter in everyday life or whatever, and he breaks them down into what makes them work. Right? I love his channel. It's great. He's come a long way since I started watching. I don't remember subscriber wise or whatever, but in terms of the quality of the production has gone way up, and his host personality has shifted over the years. But he's killing it. He's killing it. But he's mentioned several times, and I forget which all videos. I know he's done a video on percolators, and I think one on just literal drip coffee pots in general. I think they're different videos, but he's mentioned before how it's a terrible idea to leave your warmer on for your coffee pot. This is the first time that it's always made sense to me, but it was the first time I've ever heard it articulated by someone else, where I'm like, okay, no, that makes sense. So this is why I'm bringing up this YouTube channel, is that I was watching one of his coffee videos, and he was talking about how even though the base of these pots are designed to have a warmer in them, and they're designed to keep your coffee warm, leaving it on over time slowly burns your coffee in the coffee pot, inherently making a worse coffee product. And he's not wrong. I just guess I don't care. I just always leave it on anyway, and I just drink burned coffee. I'm weird. I'm a weird person. I like my coffee black. I like a dark roast. I don't know if I've talked about this on podcast or not. I like a dark roast coffee, and I drink it black. I don't add milk. I don't add sugar. I don't do any of that. And if the coffee gets burned, I don't mind. I'm one of those weird people that likes burned food. Now, burned coffee, I will admit, is actually not better coffee. So I'm not going to say I like burned coffee, but I don't mind. I'll get over it. I just need it in my body. I just need the coffee in my body. That at the end of the day, I just need a drip. I need an IV drip of coffee to my bloodstream. It's the only thing that keeps me going every day. I don't even get a caffeine fix anymore. I just need caffeine from coffee specifically to keep me mellow. Right? If I don't, I'm just dead. I'm a zombie. So that's how I take my coffee, is just straight. Some kind of dark coffee, some kind of dark roast. Usually I'll jump for, just because they're widely available, like Folgers, I think, what are they called? Special Dark, Folgers Special Dark or whatever it's called, or Hill Bros is a little bit cheaper of an option, but sometimes finding their dark roast is not as widely accessible. Those are the two that I usually jump for that are just very standard, easier to find coffees in the stores that I go to. I usually also try to look around and see if there's other dark roast coffees available, and I'll jump for like something different every now and again, like some other random brand that I've never heard of or whatever. But often they, like, other brands of coffees don't have a dark roast option available. So I just kind of go for those two as my sort of standard cup of coffee, and that's totally fine. I don't do my like grinding my own beans and that kind of thing. Just whatever pre-ground, whatever I can do. Throw it in a filter, throw it in a coffee pot. Ta-da, Bob's your uncle. That's how I take my coffee. Which is funny, because I definitely used to not be a drink it black kind of guy. When I was first trying to get into coffee, talking about how caffeine does like nothing for me. When I was first getting into coffee, I was doing it specifically for the caffeine. I was going to school, this is like 2012, the back end of 2012 and heading into 2013. I was off to college, and in the program I was going to two colleges. I was going to a community college, and they had a pathway program into a local university. So a part of that program, because the idea was that you finish up at community college and then go to that university. In that program that I was in, I was going to two colleges then. I had classes at the community college and I had classes over at the university. And so, and they're kind of on opposite ends of town, to be honest. And just the way it worked out, that semester, I was going to class at 8 in the morning. Like, I had a class at 8 in the morning at my community college. And my last class of the day ended at the university at 8 in the evening. I was in class for 12 hours a day. Obviously not like straight. It was like 3 or 4. I don't even remember how many classes it was. I just remember it was 8 to 8. So it was a long day. So it was like 3 or 4. I think I was taking 4. I think I was taking 3 at the community college and 1 at the university. I think it was 4 a day, basically. And those were long days, and I had started working, so I had a job that I would go to when I wasn't working when I wasn't going to class 8 to 8, like, right, so I was going to school 8 to 8, like, 3 times a week or whatever, and then the other 2 days a week, and then also weekends or whatever, I was available to work, like, nights at my job. So I was at school a lot, and of course I had started working, and I was tired. I had a lot of homework. I was going to school for engineering. I had a lot of math and a lot of science and a lot of homework. I was very tired, and I needed something. At least in my head, I'm like, I need to cheat, because there's no way for me to get enough sleep. To get all my work done and get enough sleep, I am just not capable of this anymore. This is a part, look, I'm an adult now. I'm not in high school, I'm in college. I'm an adult now. So, my dad has drank coffee for as far back as I can remember. And I was thinking to myself, well, maybe I should try coffee. You know, like, get up in the morning with coffee, something to get me going. Maybe that's the natural progression. I hated coffee. I've loved the smell of it forever. The smell of coffee in the morning brings me back to home, my dad brewing it in the morning. It was a part of the morning routine, right? Like, I'd be up, like, eating cereal or whatever to go to school as a kid. My dad would have coffee brewing in the coffee pot for him to go to work as an adult. So the smell of coffee in the morning is very familiar. It reminds me of home, you know, that kind of thing. Reminds me of my dad, that kind of thing. I wrote a poem about it on my poetry blog at hastymadeDecision.com. You might have to dig for it. I don't remember, like, it's a little bit of a mess to find specific things on there, but I wrote a poem about it. It's there somewhere. Probably way early on. I probably wrote it years ago, but that's how much it meant to me. I wrote a poem about it. It was that I'm still pretty happy with to this day. I forget what it was called, though. I'll have to dig it back up because it's been a while since I thought about that. Anyway, so I always like the smell of coffee. So I tried ordering coffee. I think the first coffee I tried to get myself at the time was through McDonald's, because there was actually a McDonald's, because instead of actually drinking coffee in the morning, I was drinking it in the evening to get me through my final class and get me through homework and stuff. So I started drinking it in the evening. There's a McDonald's close to my university, I would just swing through and I'd buy like a coffee. I don't even think it was a McCafe. I think it was just a coffee, like a black coffee from McDonald's. I think a McCafe would have been a better starting point because, like I said, I hated it. I hated coffee. I tried it. It's so bitter. And it's just the flavor. I just was not appealing to me whatsoever. I tried to drink it. I couldn't do it. It was disgusting to me. And I don't think that was McDonald's fault. I know plenty of people that like McDonald's coffee. I don't think it was their fault. Because then I went on to, I tried like Dunkin' Donuts. Didn't like it. Never did Starbucks. They were always out of my price range. Dunkin' Donuts had a happy hour between like, I don't know, like 2 and 4 or something like that. I could swing through and grab a cheaper coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. I think they're just called Dunkin' now. But anyway, at some point, because I'm a maniac, instead of just like milk and sugar and trying to really like milk it down, like water it down, the experience or whatever, instead of doing that, like a normal person, I started mixing my coffee with soda. Because I knew I liked soda. And I go, what if I mix coffee into soda? What if I mix soda into coffee and drink it that way? That was... Oh, you know what's weird is that it was disgusting, but I somehow preferred it over coffee straight. Like, it was somehow better. And that's how bad I didn't like coffee when I started. Which is kind of, like, really telling what kind of a coffee addiction I have now. That despite how, like, disgusting it was, maybe it was a combination of my perceived need, my apparent desire to have some kind of fix throughout my day with coffee. Somehow I believed in coffee's ability to give that to me, even though I hated it. A combination of both that, a fascination with like entering the coffee world being new to me, and I don't know, maybe the addictive properties of coffee and caffeine anyway. Those three things sort of spiraling together to create a combination where I kept trying to drink coffee and eventually could get over the taste of coffee just enough to actually start doing some of the fancier coffees like the McCafes or adding like milk and sugar or whatever to my coffee. I never liked creamer. I tried to get into adding creamer to my coffee. I just, turns out, really don't like creamer. I just don't like it at all. I'd rather put milk in my coffee. Just milk and sugar. And then eventually, I stopped adding milk because I got to the point, especially going off to college, where I just stopped buying milk. I used to drink a ton of milk as a kid, as a teenager. But now that I'm on my own, I'm like, I'm not spending my money on milk. I'm just not going to do it. I have to go out of my way to buy milk. And it's like, I can just drink water. I still drink a lot of soda. I still did drink a lot of soda. But you could get a lot more soda than you could from, like, it was cheaper than getting milk. So I still drink a lot of soda, a lot of pop. I called it pop back then. I don't know why I call it soda now. I grew up calling it pop all the time. Pop this, pop that, Pepsi pop, soda pop, whatever. Now I call it soda. But anyway, luckily I've cut a lot of soda out of my diet as well now. But I stopped drinking milk. So since I stopped having milk around, I just went to having sugar in my coffee. And then eventually I stopped getting sugar and I just started drinking coffee regular, not black yet. And then eventually, just on a whim, I tried black coffee. And then over a period of basically within a year, I went from mixing soda with pop, like Coke, because you'd go through like a McDonald's, I'd get like a large Coke and a coffee. And, you know, because you might as well get the large Coke, because all the drink sizes are $1. So you might as well get the largest one. But anyway, I went from having to mix those two together to by the end of the next year or whatever, I was drinking just straight black coffee. That's how I feel like I was a pretty quick turnaround, honestly, and a really weird history for my sort of coffee drinking to evolve. And now I'm basically addicted to the stuff. So it's a full-blown addiction. I've got to have it. I need it. I needs it. That's where we are now with my coffee. And that's been my story about coffee mugs and drinking coffee. I hope you've enjoyed that so far. Take a little sip break there, but I think we'll put a stop to that story. And for the next little bit, I don't have a ton to say about it, but it's definitely something this only comes around every now and again. I just had my 10-year anniversary of graduating high school. Holy crap. Talking about, actually, this kind of like fits in really well, because I was just talking about how I not going to college and starting my coffee journey then. That all happened after I left high school. So actually, kind of weirdly enough, in terms of this sort of nostalgia trip we're having today, it kind of fits. But today, I had my 10-year anniversary of graduating high school. 10 years! Now, obviously, you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, it's fall when this episode is releasing. Did you graduate in the fall? No, I graduated last May as of recording this. Last May is when I would have graduated. And 10 years ago, obviously, in May. And I thought our reunion was going to be over the summer, or in May. In May or over the summer, and it didn't happen. I was not the one in charge of organizing it. I know who did. No shade, that's the word I'm looking for. No shade cast. It's the person who organized it. She did a great job. If she didn't do it, like, no one else was gonna. So good job on her for finding a location and putting everything together and everything like that. Despite the fact that she lives out of state. I still live not horribly far from my hometown where I graduated. So I'm still around the area. She is not. She organized all of this from out of state and came back to this state to have this to be at this graduation. She did a great job. Found a location. We went to a brewery. We rented out a space at this brewery. Not like we didn't rent out the whole brewery, just kind of like a section of it. It was I don't know if I should say where it was. Is that getting too close to doxing myself on the internet? I almost don't know if I care. Do I care? I'm trying to decide if I care. Anyway, I'll just describe the brewery without naming it. That'll be safer. I don't know. I can't imagine what's gonna... Anyway, it was, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a field. Like a cornfield. And it's like an old converted barn, kind of, I guess, or farm or something. It's like 3 bars, or 2 barns, and like... I don't know what it would be called. It'd be like where it's like not low ceiling, but lower than a barn. Like area. I don't know. It's like I think you keep hay in it. I think farms would use it to keep like hay and stuff from out of the rain and that kind of thing. I think is what it was used for. Like kind of like I wasn't going to say like a stable, but I don't think stables look that way. Anyway, farm building of some kind where they have like a little platform where they can play music from out of. And there's a lot of outdoor space, but there's also these barns you can use. So this one barn is where they actually have the brewery, and then they have a little inside space where you can order from a counter and sit down and whatever. That's like the main area. Then they have a barn next to it for like events and stuff, where they have a bunch of tables and things like that. So you can have events there, more outdoor seating, etc. And then they have that smaller whatever building that I don't even know how to describe, where they can play music and you can sit over there as well. So lots of places to sit, inside, outside, whatever. And they had a food truck there. I don't know if that food truck there is just all there all the time, or if they had it there just because they were playing music that day that we were there. So they had a band that showed up, and we had rented out a space there. And so I don't know if just between all of that, that's why there's a food truck there, or if it's there normally. Because they don't have food at the brewery. Because it's a brewery. It's not like a bar. And it's out in the middle of nowhere. That's why I was like, when we were, by we, I mean like me and some of my classmates trying to figure out where this thing was. It's like, is there going to be food there? Because at the time that we're going, I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to want to eat. And since it's a brewery, I'm going to want to drink something. I feel like I'm going to want food, right? Because it's in the middle of nowhere. Because you don't want to drink a lot. 1, because we all have to drive to get there. It's in the middle of nowhere. And then 2, if I drink a little, I'm still gonna want food to go with it. Anyway, we were there it was supposed to be like a 5:30 to 8:30 event. Like we had a 3-hour window for our get together. I ended up there with most of everyone that showed up there. Ended up staying there until like about 10:30. Like some people came and went as they needed to, but we turned this like 3-hour thing into like a 5-hour thing. We were there. Me and my friends that showed up, my buddy Alex, that I've mentioned before, came up. My buddy Logan, who I hadn't seen in a bit, probably not since Justin's wedding, and my buddy Justin made it up. there, and we're some of the original the guys, as we call ourselves, missing a couple people, but we all kind of like drove up together, and I feel like I had a point I was about to make, and I literally lost it. I looked at something on my computer screen, and I lost it. Anyway, we all went up together. We drove up together, and we were. Oh, that's what I was just gonna say. When we got there, pretty close to 5:30. I think we were a little late, like quarter till 6 or something, like 5:45 or something. And we got there, and several of our classmates were already there. We weren't sure who all was going to show up. Our class, we had a small class. It was not a small class compared to the different class sizes of ours. We have a small school, right? Our high school, I think when we graduated, had all of like 300 to 350 students in it. Our class itself, at one point in time, had 90-something students in it. I don't remember what. I know it had 90-something students in it at one point in time. I think we were talking to some classmates. I didn't realize this. I knew some students had left before graduation, so it had dropped down to 80-something, like 88 or something. What I didn't realize is that I guess our graduating class, the ones that actually graduated, not counting people that moved or dropped out or whatever the case might have been, I think someone was saying we only graduated with technically 78, I think. And I was like, wait, really? Because we had like 90 at some point in time. Did we lose that many people before graduation? And that seemed to be the general consensus. I really thought we still had 80-something. But yeah, it was really interesting. So of all that many people, which is not a lot of people compared to most schools, I feel like, still pretty small school. I know there's smaller out there, but it's still pretty small. We probably had like 20-ish come through and show up. We weren't sure how many people would show up. We kind of figured, we were kind of guessing like, there's only gonna be like a dozen or so people that show up. And I mean, I guess 4 of them were me, Logan, Alex, and Justin. Us 4 were 4 of them. So that was a group in and of itself. And then a couple people had their significant others that made it with them. So could kind of meet everybody and kind of chat and just talk about just whatever. It's some of these people I haven't seen, like in 10 years, or if I've seen them, it's in passing, rarely or whatever. And it was just kind of neat to talk to everybody in a setting that wasn't school, obviously, from 10 years ago, and in a setting where like we're all like, it's been 10 years, we're all adults doing our own thing with our own interests, and we've either started families, or we've started businesses, or we've started new careers, or like it's all this stuff, and we haven't all kept up with what everyone's doing, right? So kind of like catching up and speaking with each other on a more of a common ground than we would have like actually in school, because we all had our different cliques, like in high school. Like pretty much, I didn't really belong to like a clique so much. I had a few friends, but I didn't have a clique. I was one of those like quiet loners reading his book, yeah, right? Like I was one of the nerdy kids, so I'd be like reading a book literally in class, and then it's not paying attention whatsoever because I didn't need to, because I was acing the class. Because high school was easy for me. I did not know until I went off to college exactly how easy high school was for me. Like there were classes that were harder, definitely, but my idea of a difficult class in high school, by the time I went to college, I was like, oh no, I was playing it on easy mode. I didn't have to study. I hardly had to work at all. I had time for extracurriculars and stuff. So anyway, yeah, I had it easy in school, so I kind of kept to myself. I was one of the quiet, nerdy kids, and I just kind of went home and would like breeze through my homework and play my video games or whatever. So I didn't have a clique that I belonged to, so kind of interacting with some of these different students that, it's not that I didn't interact with them at school, but like I wasn't as, it was a small school. Everyone knew everyone, so it's not like I didn't know them, but kind of being on a more level playing field in a sense, I hope that makes sense. It's different when everybody's an adult, right? We all had to figure out adulthood now, I think. That's how it felt anyway. Maybe I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I'm just trying to think. And then I guess the other one too is like also being there to like everyone. We're at a brewery, so get to see several people drink. Not that anyone was getting wild or whatever, but that's something where it's like I didn't go drinking with these people, and I didn't, because they weren't in my clique. I haven't drank with most of these people. A couple of my friends, where I've been out drinking with like Alex or Justin or Logan before, but like with everybody else, it's like, oh, what's everybody into? What are you drinking? Oh, what is that? You trying that? Okay, how's it good? How's the family? But it's still, I think I'm still like kind of getting over the idea that it's been 10 years. I had made a joke to somebody, I forget who I was talking to, that before I go to the reunion, I need to hurry up and make it famous. Like, I need to hurry up and get famous or get rich or something like that, so I could like show off or something at the reunion. It's like one of those sitcoms. If you've ever watched, like, I don't know, I think King of Queens is the first one that comes to mind. I know they did one like this, where they went, I forget what the character's name even is, the king, I guess, the guy, goes to his school reunion or whatever, and I think they do a whole thing about trying to pretend like he's more famous or more popular than he is to like impress people at the reunion. I think Family Guy has done this, so like you've seen like these sort of sitcom things, where you try to show up and kind of impress everybody because you don't want anyone to think that in the amount of time it's been that you're like still some kind of loser or something like that. You know what I mean? I've seen it in sitcoms, and I was kind of joking, like I kind of need to do the same thing. I need to either get famous or get rich or get successful or something like that to show off, or I'm gonna have to fake it or something like that. And it's probably because I come from a smaller school, and I wasn't considered a loser in school. I wasn't considered like lame or anything like I didn't have to impress anybody. By the time I got there, and I had my friends there too, so that helps. I had friends, so I didn't feel out of place. Instead of like worrying about all of that, I just kind of felt like I just kind of slipped into my own space. Like, I'm just, it's me, everybody. We haven't, we haven't interacted a ton, but it's me. I'm doing my thing. What are we talking about? I'm gonna just, I started out just kind of hanging out with my friends. We kind of turned into it was kind of cliquey for a little bit while we were all kind of getting our drinks, getting our food, just kind of chatting. Like, I just kind of hung out with my friends. But then after a little bit, everyone who's kind of just talking to their own cliques for a little bit, for lack of a better word. Like I said, I didn't belong to a clique. I don't feel like I belong to a clique, but I was just kind of hanging out with my own for a little bit. And then as time went on, not too much time. Like, we got there like 5:45 or whatever. By the time we got to like 6:15 or whatever, give it a few minutes, because people getting drinks, people getting food, people were kind of wandering around. Eventually, once we all kind of got our stuff and we were getting kind of eased into it, we all just started like merging our groups together and started kind of just chatting or just kind of hanging out at the same table or just kind of like listening or whatever. I didn't get the chance to really talk to everybody, but there were some conversations that, because I'm like a loner weirdo, I would just kind of creep into and just kind of listen and nod or whatever and just kind of float around a little bit. And I'd sit down, I chatted with a couple of people, talk to John. I don't think you listen to my podcast, but if you do, I think he listens to Profoundish. That's why I'm saying, John, if you're listening, I talked to you for a real long time about YouTube. That's something we've never connected over before. I talked to you for a real long time about social media and YouTube and stuff like that. That was just kind of, in hindsight, funny to me, because I just kept talking. There's a few topics that if you get me going on a topic, I will just keep going. And one of them is, if you start talking about YouTube or the future of video sharing platforms, making media, sort of like marketing your brand. If you get me going on that, I can go for a really long time in a conversation. I can go a really long time outside of a conversation, just talking to myself, like on this podcast. Let alone if you actually like contribute to the conversation, then I can go a long time on that one. Some things I cannot go a long time on. Some things I cannot go a long time talking about. Like, I could go a little bit into cars, but not for very long. You're gonna lose me. It's not my area. But some things. Cars is the first thing that jumps to my mind, because I just recorded an episode about cars with Alex for Profoundish. You guys are not gonna hear it for a while now. We recorded in advance. Because there's the two of us, so that's two schedules to work around. So we record in advance to make sure everything goes smoothly. As you might imagine, we just recorded an episode about cars, and that's why I was like, I can't go long about cars. I can go a little bit, because we just recorded that podcast. I can go a little bit. I got a little bit, but Yeah, it's been 10 whole years, and that whole conversation around, like, I gotta hurry up and be successful. I'm glad I didn't actually feel that pressure. I felt welcome there, right? Like, I wasn't the life of the party or anything like that. It wasn't like everyone was like, oh my god, Weston, you're here. It wasn't like that, but, like, I felt welcome. It was very casual. It was very relaxed. I didn't feel like I needed to impress anybody. I was just doing my own thing. But it does make me look back on, like, these last 10 years. It does make me think more about what I have accomplished, what I am doing. And most of my accomplishments are, I guess, like, personal ones, because some of the things that I do that I think are fun and neat and interesting, and I think good conversation, like doing a podcast. Like, I'm in 2 podcasts now. I've been a guest on a third. Actually, I've been, because obviously I do this podcast. I do Profoundish. I talked about that. I guested on Alex's podcast that he does with Stephanie. But also I've been a guest of another podcast as well that for the life of me, I am forgetting the name of. I was on a podcast. It was a furry podcast. One of my viewers, big fan of mine, had a podcast and he invited me onto it, and I was on it. I feel so bad that I cannot remember it. I can't remember. Oh my god, I feel terrible. But I was guest on that podcast. I have hosted and interviewed Aldo Mujica. I think I pronounced his name wrong every single time. But Aldo, I know I don't mispronounce. But the founder of Inca Games, who's gone on to do so many cool things, so many cool projects. He's a game developer. Like, just these. I have my own video game. I mean, I didn't make it or whatever. I have no part in its creation, but I am the main protagonist in a video game that he made, Aldo Mujica, for the Inca Games team. You can go on to, if you've got an Android device, go to the Google Play Store and look for Magic Man Mo Jig Trap, or Jig Magic Man Mo Trap, or Pig Magic Man Mo Trap. Just type Magic Man Mo, it should come up. The name had to change once or twice for, like, branding or marketing or something like that. Now off the top of my head, I don't remember what it was, but look for Magic Man Mo Trap. You'll find it. It's there. So, like, that's cool. I have a YouTube channel that, like, it's not, like, crazy, but it's got, like, 6,000 subscribers and people watch it and like what I do. Like, that's cool. I'm doing really well at my job. It drives me to insane stress levels constantly, but I do really well at my job. I'm doing better than I ever have before. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in a good spot. I'm not, like, rich. I'm not famous. I don't have a family or any of those, like, more traditional things that people are really into. But, like, I'm in a spot where I'm not upset with the things that I have going on. But because it has been 10 years, and I feel like I've come a long ways in the things that I'm interested in. And I'm back in school to finish a bachelor's degree. That's been a long, long time coming. And I'm in school right now to actually finish a bachelor's degree. I have an associate's. I don't really use it at my work as it stands now, unfortunately. But I've mentioned it on this podcast before that, like, the next chapter of my life is, like, probably a pretty significant career change. Don't know what that looks like yet. We'll see after the degree. I'm focused on school right now. I already have a job, so, like, a pretty decent job. So I already have a job, so I'm not like super worried. I'm not super sweating it out, but it's coming. It's coming soon. The next chapter of my life is, like, coming soon. I don't know what it'll be yet. So I've got things on the way. You know what I mean? But it does make me ask the question, like, what happens between now and the next 10 years, right? I didn't know I would be doing the things that I'm doing now 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was on a very different path. Probably, honestly, a better, more successful path, but for reasons that I know and I'm not going to get into, and reasons that I don't fully understand because so much time has passed, it's hard to, like, really figure it out. I was in a really rough place 10 years ago. I was just really struggling on a personal level and just really unhappy. And the crazy thing is that I didn't necessarily know how unhappy I was all that time ago. So part of me wishes I had stayed on the path I was on, but found some way to get out of the rut I was in to, like, find my happiness or whatever. I don't know. There's things that I wish had changed, and maybe if I'd stayed on the path that I was on, I would actually be, like, I don't know, in a very different. I was going to engineering school. That's why I'm like, I'd probably be wealthier so long as I wasn't failing. I was pretty good at like math and physics and all of that stuff. Like I was pretty good at that stuff. I don't know if I would have been a good engineer or not. I didn't really make it that far. I didn't really have an internship or a job, so I couldn't really try. But I was going to school for it, and I was good at those things when I wasn't miserable. The problem was that I didn't realize how miserable I was. I was really starting to hurt in school, and I couldn't figure out if it was because I didn't like the subject I was in or if it was something deeper. And I think it was something deeper. I was dealing with some demons back then, but I didn't know how, and I didn't know that I had demons. Self-reflection is hard. I was also going through a really, really depressing breakup with a person I'd been with for a long, long time. So that didn't help by any stretch of the imagination. I was dealing with a breakup. I was going to school 12 hours a day. I wasn't living at my parents'. I was living alone in my grandpa's trailer. My grandpa stayed like all the time at his girlfriend's place. So I had my grandpa's trailer because he actually lived closer to school. That's why I moved into there. And I was like, well, I can watch your trailer and I can live there to be like my place or whatever. I was really fortunate to have that. For the time that I did. It didn't last. I think it lasted all of a year or something like that. So that's a whole nother story. But like I was living alone. I went through this horrible breakup. I'm going to school all the time. I think just one thing after the other just really started to weigh on me, and I just don't think I was emotionally mature enough to handle it all. And I was just not dealing with it in a super healthy way most of the time. One of the healthiest things I think I discovered was actually doing YouTube. That gave me a hobby. I also lost all my hobbies, all the things I used to do in high school. Like I wasn't in sports or scholastic bowl or golf or all of that. I didn't have my high school hobbies anymore. So finding YouTube as a hobby, I think really helped like freaking give me sanity through all of that. One could argue it was a distraction from my studies, but the point was it gave me something to look forward to doing at a time where I didn't have things to look forward to. So I'm still grateful for that anyway. But that's a whole nother thing. Point is that was the path I was going on 10 years ago is not the path I'm on now. But also, as I embark on the next 10-year journey, what does that pathway look like? Because I don't think it's going to be the same. I think I'm reaching the point where I'm ready to deviate from this path. I'm ready to look for a fork of the road, as it were, and make a turn, make a change of some kind. What will it be? What will I be doing? What will I be celebrating 10 years from now at the next reunion? That's where I'm at, like, mentally, right? Is what does that look like? Obviously, there's creative things with the like YouTube and podcasts and another project that I really, really want to start, but I don't want to talk about yet. Because what do I need is more projects to work on, right? Yeah, like as if I need more of those. But I have another project I want to work on. I might talk about in a future episode if I actually get the ball rolling, because it's actually something I want to start pretty soon. And I'll talk about it when it comes. But there's that, and then yeah, just in terms of, like I said, because I want to make a career change of some kind and like relatively soon after I get my degree, what will that look like in 10 years? I don't know. It's a mystery, and I'm looking forward to sort of solving that mystery, or at least traveling or traveling, not traveling. Well, maybe traveling. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I won't be in the state anymore. I talk about that, like even actually just leaving the state. I have family here, but it's just my immediate family. It's like my parents and my brother are here, but like I kind of want to leave. I don't think where I'm at now, like in this city where I'm at now, in this state that I'm in now, I'm not entirely sure my future is here. I don't think my future happiness can be found here. I don't know where to go. I don't know where I want to go. I think it depends. I got to finish up my schooling here, and then I'm going to start looking for, opportunities elsewhere, basically. And I don't know what that looks like. It's kind of scary. It's kind of exciting, but it's kind of scary because I don't know what that means yet. But I'm going to keep searching for my happiness, I guess, is like, I think what we're all kind of doing. Right? It's not about finding your success or fame or fortune or whatever. It's about like finding your happiness. It's about that like pursuit of happiness, right? And that's, I think, what I've been doing forever since I graduated high school. Maybe before, like when I was a kid going through school, it's almost like prison, right? Like you just day in, day out, you know, like what your routine is. The warden's going to tell you to do this, that, or the other, right? You got your parents telling you what to do. You got your teachers telling you what to do. But then you leave high school, right? And the world opens up so much more. And it becomes like, I think that's like the start of it. Once you actually leave that school system, I don't want to call school a prison, but like, it, you know what I mean? Like you leave that institution, and now the pursuit of happiness actually begins. And what does that mean for you as an adult? Because now that you've left school, there is no right way to do life. There's no correct way to do it. I mean, maybe there's some ways we'd consider wrong. Like, maybe you should become a professional serial killer. Maybe don't do that one. But like, otherwise, there's like no wrong way to live your life. Now it's up to you. And in this case, since I'm talking about me, there's no way for me to do my life wrong. I just need to go do the thing that I want to do. I need to go live my life. And that's what I've been pursuing the last 10 years, in a way. I know I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave the episode there. I think I'm starting to kind of like cycle a little bit. The pursuit of happiness. The next 10 years, the pursuit continues. New chapter. That's my story about coffee and my 10-year school reunion. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of a Hasty Podcast. Tweet me at Hasty Pod. What? No. Tweet me at Weston Hasty with the hashtag Hasty Podcast. My brain shut down there for a second. I thought I had a Twitter account. I do not. I mean, I have a personal one. At Weston Hasty, using the hashtag Hasty Podcast to leave your comments or questions or whatever that you may desire. Follow me on all of the different things I do. I have a website, westonhasty.com. It's a landing page for all of my things. I'm currently trying to update it a little bit, but otherwise, I've got Profoundish. Check out that podcast. I've got Magic Man Mo, a YouTube gaming channel. I've got hastilymadedecision.com. It's a poetry blog that I write to from time to time. I got Twitter at Weston Hasty. I got Instagram at Weston Hasty. I got TikTok at Weston Hasty. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Check all of those things out. Whatever you guys do, I want to thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye!